Hello and welcome to Mana Wars. We're here at Pat's Games, Austin, Texas, where they ship cards throughout the United States.
Yep.
I'm Kevin. This is Arie. Arie, tell us what we've got on the show today.
We have some very exciting previews from the brand new set that's coming out in a couple of weeks. And we're going to see a red-white Boros Mentor deck against a Sultai control deck.
Nice. Who's going to win? Watch the episode and find out.
To keep up to date with everything at Knights at the Game Table, all you have to do is click subscribe and then hit that tiny little notification button next to it, so every time we upload a new video, YouTube will be sure to let you know.
And while you're watching, don't forget, we're giving away a booster box every month. All you have to do to be entered into the draw is to comment down below and share this video. You can pick anything in standard, like our recent winner, Toli Mola, who took a M19 booster box. Okay, Arie, the decks today are from featuring cards from what new set?
Yeah, we have a new set coming out in a couple of weeks, not out yet, called Guilds of Ravnica.
And we're going to be previewing cards from that set.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Okay, let's go check out the decks. It's rock, paper, scissors time. It's what we all came for.
I mean, it's my favorite time. Scissors Lizard finally last time got a win.
What are we going to see today? What are we going to see today? Here we go. It's a...
Paper Tiger. Oh, man. Scissors Lizard 2-0. Because he...
Destroying that Paper Tiger.
Absolutely. So I'm excited. You know why I'm excited?
Because it's all new?
Yes, because we have some brand new cards that we're actually featuring today from... I like to call it Ravnica Part 3, but it's actually, I believe it's called Guilds of Ravnica.
Guilds of Ravnica.
And okay. we're gonna see some pretty cool stuff. So we have Aaron on the right, and on the left we have another Aaron that we're going to be calling Ruben because we need to differentiate Aarons.
Okay, yeah, no shortage of Aarons on Mana Wars.
So we have Aaron is going to be keeping his hand. It looks like he's got a really good hand with this Boros aggro deck, where he's got some really aggressive Boros cards. He's got good mana, and that's what you're looking for.
Nice.
Whereas Ruben on our left here did not like a 7, so we're going to see. He's going to go for 6 here. We're going to see if he's going to find a hand he likes.
And Aaron's going first with this aggro Boros deck, is that right?
Yes, yeah, and that's really exactly where this deck wants to be. It's a very aggressive deck. It pretty much just plays almost every card that has Mentor, which is sort of like the theme ability, the guild ability for Boros in the upcoming set, which lets you place counters onto creatures with less power. And this
so
deck
the powerful creature teaches the weaker creature how to be stronger.
Yes.
Okay.
So like Boros Challenger can teach you something, whereas Vyashiro Pyromancer can't teach anybody anything, but he can deal some damage.
You can set fire to some stuff.
Yes, he can. So we're going to be starting off here with Sunhome Stalwart, which is one of those Mentor creatures, a 2/2 with Mentor. Mm-hmm. And Ruben's just going to stick with an Opt. So he's playing sort of we call it Sultai now, which is a blue, black, and splashing green deck, which is going to be a 3-color control deck that plays just a ton of removal spells.
Okay.
So the main thing for that deck is going to be, it wants to be able to have enough removal and counter spells in the early turns to not fall too far behind. But at the same time, it doesn't want to get necessarily flooded on all that stuff. It wants to use the removal spells in the early game to get to its more powerful late game.
Well, what is its powerful late game consist of? We've got some big monsters, we've got some planeswalkers. What are we looking at?
We have one planeswalker.
One planeswalker.
Yes. So
is it a new planeswalker?
It is not. It is old Vraska, not the newer form of Vraska, but the original Vraska, or not the original Vraska, the older Vraska from Ixalan. So Boros Challenger tried to come down, but it got cast down. So that's a good thing for Ruben because he was able to use his removal spell there. But if the win condition for this deck on the left is it gets to play a very cool Flash Sphinx that I'm hoping we see in play soon, that we'll talk about hopefully when we see it. And then just one copy of Vraska Relic Seeker. And then some copies of the Mirari Conjecture, which kind of lets you return cards to your hand and lets you double your spells. So it just has a lot of card advantage, not that many actual win conditions to win the game.
Are we countering a spell there?
Yes, so Boros Challenger number 2 decided to try to come down, but what ended up happening was it got Sinister Sabotage, which is a 3-mana counterspell that has Surveil 1, which is the Dimir mechanic in this set, which is you look at your top card, if you like it, you keep it, if you don't, you put it into your graveyard. So it's kind of like Scry, but it's a lot better than Scry when you look at cards like Search for Escanta, because it actually puts those cards into the graveyard where maybe they could be reanimated or used later, or they matter for graveyard counting like Search for Escanta does. So I think it's better than Scry, right? Put it in the graveyard?
Yeah, that does seem better by and large.
So it looks like Ruben's in good shape here. He's making his land drops, he's using his removal, but he does not have green mana, which there's not a lot of green cards in this deck, but they are important. So we're going to see, hopefully he's going to be able to pick that up at some point. Oh wow, another Sabotage taking care of that Viashino Pyromancer.
Okay. Maybe he'll find some green mana this time.
Yeah, well, you know, if he just has a bunch of black removal and blue counters, maybe he just doesn't need it for a while, you know? Because he doesn't have a lot of green spells, but he does have, I think the card that, personally, I'm most excited about that I've seen in the spoiler for this set is a green-black card. So we'll see if we get to check that out soon.
Okay, what's he made there?
So that is Search for Iskanta, a card that I feel like we cover every week.
So that's got threshold, right?
Pretty much, yeah. So if you get 7 cards in your graveyard, you can flip it into a land that, as we would say in the old days, impulses. It looks at your top 4, puts a non-creature into your hand. But Search for Iskanta gets a big power-up in this set with Surveil. I mean, look at how early we are in the game and how many cards are in the graveyard already.
That is 7, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So when will that thing flip?
It can flip this turn if Aaron chooses to do so. Aaron Rubin, that is. History of Benalia is a little bit rough, though.
Ooh. Because
History of Benalia is not a card that 1-for-1 like removal spells like Cast Down really answers well. So this Cast Down, it will get rid of that Sunhome Stalwart, but you know, we're gonna have some problems with Knights here.
Yeah.
Nighttime could be an issue for this deck because it does not really do a great job with 2-for-1s with creatures that or like abilities that create multiple permanents. It's a lot weaker with that. So we're gonna have to see what happens with that. So here comes the second night. The good news here for Ruben is that, you know, other than the Knights, there's not anything else going on. So I guess that's kind of good. But I know at least.
Yeah, the Knights are going to add up fairly quickly.
Well,
he's on 12. He's dead in 3 turns.
Yeah, well, less because History of Benalia is going to give those Knights +2/+1 next turn.
Oh, good lord.
So he would be in a lot of trouble. Basically, any Lightning Strike or Pyromancer or anything like that will be lethal if these Knights aren't dealt with in some manner.
Okey-doke. So what's our control deck looking for at this point?
Oh, interesting. Okay. So Vraska's Contempt, not what you necessarily want to do is use it on a Knight token, but it does gain 2 life and get rid of a token. So
okay,
it's a step in the right direction, for sure. But I mean, I looking at Aaron's hand though, I see a lot of direct damage. He's got some Lightning Strikes and a Pyromancer, so he's going to be able to have a ton of reach, even though he hasn't done a great deal of damage with his creatures this game. He's probably going to have done just about enough.
He's had off his life already.
Yeah, well, here comes the ultimate mode of History of Benalia. Oh, okay. So that's in the draw step, and then, okay, Cast Down on the Knights. So the good news is that Ruben did have answers to the Knights. The bad news is they were both removal spells, so he got 2-for-1 with those Knights, which is, not necessarily where your control deck wants to be sitting. All right, here comes yet another Boros Challenger, which is a 2/2 that has Mentor and can also pump itself up to become bigger, which is really, really good when you're trying to mentor a smaller guy.
Nice. Okay, we're impulsing. What do we need?
What I think we need is a Wrath. We have some Wrath effects, but it looks like all we found there was a Radical Idea, which can draw a card. Okay, here's a Lightning Strike. So that will be taking Ruben down to 7. But Radical Idea is not bad. It will allow him to draw some additional cards, which with this control deck, you're really just trying to get ahead on cards if you can. So he may or may not choose to main phase that Radical Idea. It's possible that he wants to instead use Search for Iskanta this turn, or Iskanta the Sunken Ruin as the backside is known. So he may prefer that to using Radical Idea at the moment. Okay, so here comes Boros Challenger. He's arrived. He's alive currently, but we're going to have to see if he will survive the whole turn. He's going to attack by himself, and here is the card that I think is really, really cool. And this is Assassin's Trophy.
Assassin's Trophy.
Have you seen this card yet?
I have actually.
So
this is the one card I've seen. So this is a 2-mana instant. It destroys target permanent.
Correct. Target permanent.
And they go to get a basic land.
Yes.
So it is actually better on like a 6-mana Planeswalker than a 2-mana Dude, isn't it?
Yes, I think that the main thing you're looking to kill with in Standard with this card is Teferi.
Yeah.
Where they tap out for Teferi and you just use 2 mana to destroy it. But it's a serviceable removal spell against an aggro deck here. I mean, although it does ramp them, And unlike Path to Exile, the land comes into play untapped. So if you kill their creature, you destroy it in combat, they will like essentially ramp. They get like a rampant growth for free on their second main phase. So, that's not the best. Okay, cast down is what we took. That's what we took off of the Escanta. And this is actually, I think, despite being at 5, which is not a great place to be, I don't necessarily totally hate where Ruben's at here, because he is set up with a flipped Escanta, and he has like multiple cards in his hand.
He's fetching you onto every turn.
Yeah, exactly. But he has to try to stay away from being at 3, because that's where Lightning Strike comes into play. Okay, another cast down. Pretty clean. Decent answer, although obviously that Pyromancer already got some damage in with its triggered ability.
Yeah.
All right, Sunhome Stalwart.
It's another Mentor.
That is another 2/2. This guy has First Strike and Mentor. I think that guy is like a pretty powerful card, to be honest with you. It looks like Ruben just found Syncopate, which is not what you... The reason Syncopate's in your deck is so you can play it on turn 2 or turn 3 on an early turn. But at this point...
It's progressively less exciting.
It's also not exactly a combo with Assassin's Trophy, where you give them an untapped basic land and then you try to syncopate something. But it's so important to try to counter a spell on turn 2 that I think Syncopate sort of pulls its weight, despite its obvious drawbacks.
Yeah. There are decks that have like, 5-6 mana spells that are easier to syncopate than the Boros deck, which is all, it seems to be all 2-drops.
This deck literally is all 2-drops. It only plays 2 cards, I believe, that cost 3, and it's 4 History of Benalia and 4 of a certain Goblin that hopefully we'll get to see in play at some point.
Is it Whirly Goblin?
It is not Goblin Chain Whirler.
It's not a Whirly Goblin? Oh my goodness.
It is Goblin Warboss, which is sort of the spiritual successor.
Oh, there's 3 damage.
Yes, there is a Lightning Strike, which I think is now going to take Ruben down to 2, which means even a Shock or a Pyromancer would be lethal.
That's precarious.
But it's Legion Warboss, which is the Goblin we're talking about, which is sort of like, the spiritual successor to Goblin Rabblemaster. Very similar to that card if you ever played with it. But hopefully we'll get to see it in play at some point. It's a cool card. So, okay, interesting. So yeah, Thought Erasure for nothing. Thought Erasure looks at your opponent's hand, allows you to take any card from it actually, other than a land, and then has Surveil 1. So Ruben is going to see nothing in Aaron's hand, which I think he probably may have expected, but he does at least get that deck manipulation aspect of the Surveil, although he did at least choose to leave it on top, so unfortunately it didn't actually really help him manipulate his deck in any way. All right, so Aaron is doing something very smart that I think is a good idea sometimes, looking through your opponent's graveyard, see how many removal spells and things they've already cast, and counter spells and such, so you can kind of see what the best tech forward here is. Oh, Fiercio Pyromancer when you're at 2. Yeah, and that's going to do it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's going to do it. I mean, between like the Lightning Strikes and the Pyromancers, there was a lot of direct damage, like just non-combat damage.
So what are we looking to see from the control deck this game to put in a stronger showing?
Well, I think the early Search for Escanta was good, but I think more than that, I think we want to see a hand that has like a turn 1 opt into a turn 2 removal spell, and then start going off with your card draw and everything like that. Search for Escanta on turn 2 is a great play in a lot of matchups, and you certainly don't mind having it here, but I think using your second turn to say like syncopate a threat or remove a threat might actually be better in this specific matchup.
It could save you 8 to 10 life conceivably over the course of the game.
Yeah, it could just be a big deal, because ideally on turn 3 you want to be casting like a counterspell, so using turn 2 for Search for Escanta is less good sometimes, specifically against just a very aggressive deck like this red-white Boros deck is.
Gotcha. So the drawing up for game 2, they don't actually have sideboards for this game, do they?
So that's our little asterisk here for this matchup. We're treating this kind of like a playtest because the set doesn't actually come out for several weeks, and we're filming. So we don't know quite enough about the standard metagame, and more than half of the new set isn't yet out there.
At time of filming, we know, 100 cards right now?
Yeah, about 100 cards. So we're still about 200 more cards of the set that we don't know about. So
this is everything we've got for you.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to be playing just some game 1s, just because, first of all, I'm sure you probably did it similarly, but like when I would test for Pro Tours and big events and the whole set wasn't out, largely we would play most of the game ones.
Oh yeah, you get a big black marker and you'd scribble on your old basic forest or whatever. Or
Correct.
Find something of equivalent casting costs.
Yeah.
A draft set 4 sets ago that you don't use anymore. And
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah, because testing game 2s when you don't know the metagame at all is sometimes just not really helpful.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Ooh, it looks like this could be problematic.
Oh, so we got, what's that? He's the guy that gives haste?
Yes, that is. Yes. That is a Goblin Instigator, I believe. And that Goblin Instigator is going to be all kinds of trouble for the control deck here. Because the Instigator is going to give haste to the Stalwart. But it's actually going to get destroyed here by cast down, so that's good news. Goblin Motivator. I said Instigator is a different guy. Goblin Motivator, yes. You should remember that because he gives them haste because he's motivating them.
He's like a gym trainer for your army.
Yeah, he's
Go on, boss, you can do it, go on, go on, go on.
He's like a motivational speaker, yeah, or something. I don't know. I didn't know goblins needed that, but apparently
Runs
they
up behind
do.
you, starts doing Eye of the Tiger.
Well, here on the left here, we're also seeing the power of Ravnica mana bases, which are, it's so nice that we get to play like these Shockland mana bases, where we get to play all of the check lands and then a few basic lands, and we get to take a little bit of damage from our mana base sometimes, but we get to play a 3-color deck with almost no downside.
That's really
Which
nice.
is really awesome.
So what have we got here? We've got a new creature. What's
Yes, this is another goblin, and this is a new guy. This guy actually just got spoiled today. I think it's
Right.
Goblin Banneret, which is a 1/1 that has Mentor that can pump itself up and give it +2/+0. So it can't really, a 1/1 could only mentor like an 0/1 or something, but when you pump it up and give it 3 power, now it can mentor a 2/2,
Nice.
which could be pretty big. Plus, I think there have been a lot of cards in Standard going all the way back to like Fire Drinker, Satyr, and a bunch of different 1-drops that they've had in Red that have sort of some variant of the Fire Breathing ability, and those cards are usually pretty good and constructed. Having something to do with your excess mana is
bit
nice.
of mana sink for your beatdown
Yeah,
deck,
and here we go. We see the Banneret coming down,
Did
the Motivator giving it haste, and then now Aaron's going to get put to the Ruben's going to get put to the test here.
It's fire breathing. Look at that.
Yeah, he does not have another removal spell, so he's going to take 3 from the Goblin Banneret, which is it's a little awkward.
Did the original slide deck have a Dragon Whelp in it?
Yes.
I think it did, didn't it? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Since the first days of Red Beatdown, fire breathing's been a thing.
Yes, yeah, it did have Dragon Whelp. I think it's a 4-mana 2/3. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
that's right. Yeah, with fire breathing, but it can't be too much fire, or it burns itself out. And
Yeah,
dies.
yeah. Nowadays we get the Goblin Chain Whirlers of the world, and we get these cards like the Banneret that's like a 1-mana 3/1 basically, and then back then you had a 4-mana 2/3 in your aggro deck.
Yeah.
It was a,
It
little
was
bit
a
worse.
different world.
Yeah, it was.
We also played 1-mana 1/1s.
Yeah. All right, well, so the Banneret comes in, gets pumped up, and it's actually going to mentor Goblin Motivator.
Oh, look at that.
Which I like the flavor of one Goblin mentoring another one. Oh, wow.
They're kind of cheering each other on, like, you can do it, no, you can do it, we can both do it.
Yeah, one's motivating the other's mentoring in
Yeah.
return. So that's kind of nice. All right, so it looks like Ruben really is going to need to find either some sort of removal spell or preferably even some way to kill more than one creature, which actually he did find in Find Finality. So Find Finality is a cool card. It's a split card, which means you can play one half or the other. And in this case, Ruben chose to play Finality, which gives -4/-4 to all creatures. So that was a nice pickup for sure.
It's definitely going to kill a couple of goblins.
Yeah, I took care of a couple goblins, but hey, Aaron's like, I got more goblins. Where that came from? He's got another Goblin Banneret now.
Shorty goblins. Okay, I feel like his control deck's looking for something big now.
Well, he does. To me, I think flipping Search for Escanta is kind of big.
That'll count.
because
Something to do with his mana?
Yeah, now he's got like sort of a mana sink, and also a way to like continually find more answers, because this Goblin Banneret's going to require an answer for sure. And hopefully, for the sake of watching a good game, it's something that Ruben possesses, or at least can find with Search for Escanta at the very least. The 6th land a little bit less good for the red-white aggro deck, though.
Yeah, not so exciting.
Yeah, so Vraska's Contempt's gonna happen, which is pretty good. It not only gets rid of that Banneret forever, but it also gains 2 life, which those 2 life, as we saw in game 1 with the lightning strikes, being the difference, that 2 life could be a big deal.
Counts. Definitely counts. We're countering the
Oh,
Surveilling
wow.
again.
That's a great turn for Ruben, where he had the Sinister Sabotage, the 3-mana counter spell with Surveil. He had that as a follow-up to his removal. So that's a fantastic turn. 7 mana, and he was able to use all of his mana efficiently, which is amazing.
Nice.
Okay, so let's see what Aaron's got in store.
Oh, not out of gas yet.
Ooh,
That's a
History of
good
Benalia
spell.
is a solid follow-up, a really solid follow-up.
And it's in.
And so that's going to come down. That's going to make a knight. And let's see what Ruben has to say about it. Ooh, cool. Okay.
What's this?
This is a card that I keep wanting to call Dreamweaver, which is not what it's called. Dream Eater. Dream Eater. I think of Dreamweaver the song though every time. I really do. I'm sorry about that.
Tell me about the Dream Eater.
Oh, Dream Eater's so cool. So it's a 4/3 with flash. It has Surveil 4, which is you look at your top 4 cards and put any ones in your graveyard that you want.
That's really nice.
And then it can also bounce a permanent. So it not only came down, surveilled 4.
Oh, it killed the knight.
And it was able to take care of the knight as well, which is just amazing. Like, that is just a fantastic, fantastic play by Ruben.
Drawing blood from the...
Yeah, and finally the control deck deals some damage. What do you think about that?
I'm happy. I like my control decks to actually get into the game and put things on the table. So that's
To
good.
once in a while get something in play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, this deck doesn't play a lot of permanents. It does have some Dream Eaters, which we're seeing here, but it doesn't play a ton of permanents. It mostly plays with like card draw and getting kind of things into get card advantage, and then eventually in the late game, maybe tries to win the game with Dream Eater. But it's not a deck that plays a ton to the board. So that's
we've lost life to it.
Yeah, so this is a radical idea, which is, I think, one of the most underrated cards in this set. I think a radical idea is really good.
It's a card draw spell, right?
It's a 2-mana draw card, which doesn't sound great. But then it has Jumpstart, which is the Is-It mechanic from this new set. And Jumpstart lets you discard a card from your hand to play that card from your graveyard. So basically, it's like a draw 2, discard 1. But that is just like super, super powerful.
It's 2 mana total?
It's 2 mana each time. You have to pay its cost both times. But the thing is, there's a lot of control decks like this one that really play a lot of...
Oh, there's
whoa.
Vraska.
Well, Vraska Relic Seeker, like you were asking me, is it the new Vraska? And I said categorically no. It is not the new Vraska, it is the old Vraska. But this Vraska is real nice. It's a really, really good card. So what Vraska does is Vraska can make a 2/2 pirate, which is the mode that we've chosen here.
Pirate.
It makes a pirate, yeah.
Okay.
A pirate with menace. Or it can minus to destroy an artifact, enchantment, or planeswalker, which is really cool.
Nice.
But yeah, Vraska Relic Seeker, a really good sort of like one-of copy, like a one-of effect in a control deck, because it's a disenchant that also can remove a planeswalker that can also act as a win condition, which is just a really, really nice combination of abilities for a control deck.
As we've shocked and we're attacking.
Yeah, so the pirate's out of the picture. Oh wow, the Assassin's Trophy as the follow-up for what was probably Aaron's last threat. I mean, he does have 2 cards in his hand, but I don't know how good those cards can be at this point. And if any of them are a creature, they're just gonna get they can get shot down by Vraska real quick.
Yeah. He's got 12 life points to chew through as well. It's not
All
great for beatdown deck at this point.
No, it's not. It looks like Dream Eater might just go all the way here. I mean, it's a slow clock, but it's a beefy one. I mean,
it's 3 turns, right, at this point?
Yes, yeah. Both players are at 12. And this is really, when you're playing a control deck like this is like your dream scenario. You've got like a ton of lands. You've got your big, fat, win condition flyer in play. You've got also a planeswalker just for good measure, and you can also activate Searcher Escanta, the Escanta the Second Ruin if you want.
Just in case you feel like searching out a card.
Yeah. There's just like any number of things that can go right. At the same time, I think if you're Aaron, you want to be a little careful, or Ruben, you want to be a little careful.
Oh, so we're killing the Dream Eater.
Yeah, so Dream Eater's going to get shot down in response to the Surveil take a card, the Thought Erasure, and that's going to essentially leave both players with pretty much nothing, except that this Vraska Relic Seeker is going to stick
still
around.
on the board, yeah.
Yeah. So Vraska's around. That Goblin Motivator's out of here, because he died to the Vraska. And now we're going to be activating Search for Escanta and just looking for more gas. It's unfortunate you cannot find the Sphinx with this card, but you can find Cast Down.
Okay, that's something I'm perfectly happy having in my hand.
So
start making
some pirates.
Start making some pirates.
Yeah. So we're gonna. Yeah. So we have, this is going to be on the top there. It's a treasure token because Vraska can make treasures. Makes treasures when she destroys things. And then on the bottom there we have our 2/2 pirate that actually has menace. So we're at this point in the game where I think for the red-white deck you're basically just hoping to draw a bunch of lightning strikes. Right at this point, you just need to find the direct damage because your creatures are probably not going to get there.
Yeah, you're going to want a lot of lightning strikes at this point.
Oh, look what Ruben found from his search for his Gauntlet.
What is this?
This is the Mirari Conjecture, which is a really cool card, and one of the great engines that I think makes this deck strong.
Is that Saga?
It is. So Mirari Conjecture, when it comes in, lets you return an instant from your graveyard to your hand. Then the second turn you have it in play, it returns a sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. And then the third turn you have it in play, it doubles all instants and sorceries that you cast.
Nice.
So it can turn a single jumpstart card or just one opt into a draw 2. And then once you start just going from there, it gets really out of hand quickly.
We've already picked up a counterspell, which is really nice. Has there ever been a Mirari card that's just been no good at all?
No, I think Mirari's Wake. I mean, I guess the card Mirari's not.
Right.
It's okay.
It was played a bit in Block Constructed.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but yeah, Mirari's Conjecture is very good, and yeah, Mirari's Wake was the best.
It was in the best Block Constructed deck actually. The green, white, blue fog.
Sure.
Cloning wishes.
Yeah.
You Mirari a wish to get another copy of your wish.
Yes. Okay.
And then you just go infinite.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, Mirari has.
It definitely needed Mirari's Wake as well because it needed about 20 mana, but it was the thing. So
well. Yeah. Mirari's Wake is good. Mirari's Conjecture is good. Basically, we're just going to go ahead and you heard it here first. Anything Mirari is good.
It's good.
Anything. It says Mirari, it's good.
Did Kamal have the Mirari on the pommel of his sword at one point or something as well?
My knowledge of Mirari lore is not.
That was my era, man. I was there.
I could make a conjecture joke here, but I'm just gonna. I'm not going to subject you to that. However, I don't think that. I'm not sure if Aaron wants to be subjected to this game much longer either.
No, he's looking
because this lightning strike's going to happen, and that is going to take Ruben down a little bit.
Okay, so he just needs 3 more lightning strikes. How many are in his deck?
I think he's used 2.
Okay.
So yeah, so Thought Erasure for nothing, which I don't think is going to be a surprise that there was nothing there, but it was still probably worth casting.
He's drawn a lot of land over here for a beatdown deck.
Yeah, well,
as much land as the control deck right now, maybe.
Yeah, he's got about as much land, but remember the Assassin's Trophy does have given him land as well.
Has given him.
All right, so we're going to try to play a white creature where it's going to get casted down.
No.
And then now, when the turn Mirari Conjecture goes off, and we're going to get to draw a ton of cards, that's going to be a difficult turn, I think. So this Mirari Conjecture is going to go to its sort of ultimate mode. It's going to get sacrificed, but now every instant...
And sorcery gets doubled.
And sorcery will get doubled.
We've got 6 pirates coming in as well.
Yes, the pirates are coming in, and yeah, we got no answer to those. So I was a little excited. I wanted to see something get conjectured, but I guess that would be kind of just mean to your opponent at that point.
By the time you've already picked up 2 cards off your graveyard while making pirates, I think you have no need for the Gladiator spells. Okay, so we're on to game 3 now, and he seems quite evenly matched so far.
Yeah, it really does. When I'm looking at the spoiler, I'm trying to kind of figure out what decks to play. I thought on paper these decks would look up to be evenly matched, and I'm excited to see that it's actually turned out that way. Because I think the Boros deck, when it has a very aggressive draw, especially on the play, is a lot of trouble for the control deck. But then again, I think the control deck has enough card advantage and removal to kind of pull ahead in the late game. So it's a nice kind of tension between aggro and control.
Yeah. It's got to have the right answers at the right time, or it's going to end up just a little on the back foot, and then it's in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. And when you have the Motivator on turn 1 as the thing that grants haste to everything, if Ruben doesn't have the answer to the Motivator quickly, that Motivator is going to be really tough. Plus, I will say that we haven't actually really seen a Warboss come out and make any tokens yet.
No, we have not.
And a Warboss is going to be a huge issue if that card decides to show up on time and start making some tokens for Aaron over here. Well, I'm looking at Aaron's hand, and
No, it wasn't exciting,
I
was
didn't
it?
like it, and he didn't like it either.
You just don't want shocks in this matchup,
No,
really, do
no. Shaq, even Lightning Strike is like, I guess it kills Dream Eater, but like, once you get into the point of the game where they're playing Dream Eater and surveilling 4 with it, sure you can Lightning Strike it.
I'm not going to be upset to have a Lightning Strike in my hand.
No.
But also, I don't particularly want them early.
Yeah, I mean, it's to me, like, when you play these kind of decks, it's always kind of tough, like how much direct damage you want.
Yeah.
But since we're only playing game 1s today, he doesn't get to decide. So,
Okay, this looks better.
that's the nature of
This looks
spoiler
better.
season. Oh, so I see Legion Warboss in there, which is going to be huge if it lands. And then some other solid ones in there as well.
Goblin banner thingy.
Yes, Goblin Banneret's going to be the turn 1 play.
Banneret. isn't it?
Banneret, yeah. It's
Banneret.
probably, I think he's holding a banner. I think that's where that comes from. He's holding a Boros banner. So just Island for Ruben over here. Probably not the best turn 1 land, but it makes me think he probably has an opt in his hand if he's leading with Island over like some kind of shock land. All right, so Banneret comes in for 1, and then now we have a Boros Challenger.
Okay, and that can mentor
One
the
of our
mana, right?
one of our mentors, yeah.
Okay,
So-
we want some answers fairly quickly from the control deck here, or he's going to get eaten.
Yeah, I think Ruben really needs to be able to get rid of this Challenger this turn.
Yeah, we need to see a swamp,
however, he does kind of have to wait, like, because if Legion Warboss shows up, then it becomes kind of tough. Like, do I want to get rid of the Challenger? Do I want to get rid of the Warboss? I mean, there's like, it's a little bit tough. I think the Warboss is probably more threatening, but then again, the Challenger is going to assist in getting in for 4 this turn, which is a lot.
It is. Does it leave a permanent bonus?
Yes, yeah, it gives a +1/+1 counter to the
Nice.
smaller creature. So Boros Challenger would be mentoring the Goblin Banneret, which would be all kinds of trouble for Ruben over here. So I think that Aaron is trying to think about, I guess, whether he wants to play the Warboss or not. I feel like I want to play it. Because if it sticks, it's like the game is almost over. And if it doesn't stick, it means I'm getting in for 4 this turn. Okay, so
yeah,
cast
kill
down
him.
on the Warboss, so that guy is not going to be doing anything anytime soon. But Boros Challenger...
Attack for 4 is absolutely not a problem.
No, not at all. All right, so let's see what happens here. It looks like, on the one hand, you have Aaron with a really strong board presence. On the other hand, though, he doesn't have much follow-up here, right? He's got 2 cards in hand. They both deal damage, which is good, but he doesn't have like a lot more to work with.
As with all red
Oh.
players, how good is the top of his deck?
His top of his deck is pretty good, because the card I was about to mention that he wants to draw the most is History of Benalia. And then he just drew it right on time. When it was the exact card I was about to mention as his best draw, because it's a 2-for-1 that can't be really answered easily. So the question is, do you want to destroy a Banneret here or a Challenger? I feel like you want to, I don't even know. I guess the Challenger is Ruben's choice, which I think is fine. I think either one, at that
They
spot.
both pump themselves, right?
Yeah, they can both, exactly right.
And
They
both
both
have
have
mentors.
pump
Not
abilities.
between them at this point, is there?
Yeah, it was a close play. I'm not even sure. I'd have to probably play a bunch more of this format to know which one would be better. But they're very similar. They're both cards with Mentor that have a pump ability to make their power larger to be able to mentor other creatures.
Okay, History of Benalia.
Yeah, History of Benalia is going to make its knights like it likes to do. And this time around, I don't know if Ruben's going to be able to have that -4/-4 find finality. I don't know if that's going to be fast enough this time. Yeah, so Banneret's going to come in. Oh, wow. And we have no answer to this? Uh-oh.
Oh my goodness.
Uh-oh. The Banneret's going to mentor a knight. And that is going to crack in for a bunch of damage.
Oof.
And, oh man, I think play draw is really important here, because I think that actually Ruben has the find finality in his hand, but he can't get to 6 mana fast enough.
No, it's 5 lands on the board and facing a
Yeah.
huge... He needs a fog.
He needs a fog.
Did you put a fog in his deck? Oh,
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Unfortunately, some of the good fogs rotated.
He's going to have a bad day then, isn't he? Here
Yeah.
come the knights.
Here come all the knights. Here come the Bannerets.
Oh, we've got a...
Yeah, and we have an Assassin's trophy, but it's not going to be good enough.
Whichever trophy he takes,
Yeah,
it's not good enough.
It's not going to be good enough, yeah.
Oh, good game, guys. Good game.
Yeah, that was exciting.
Well, both decks put up a strong showing, but in the
Yeah.
end, beat down carried the day.
Yeah, that was a really cool matchup, and something I think we'll probably see a lot of in Standard, with Boros being one of the guilds in the first set of this block, Guilds of Ravnica, I think Boros aggro is a real threat to be really strong.
Yeah, that new mechanic's really nice. It seems to give the decks a lot of resiliency where they can power up their weaker creatures and then they become a threat as the game carries on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Legion Warboss, which we didn't see a ton in that match, is the 2/2 that makes a 1/1 token every single turn.
Oh, that's really nice.
That's probably the best one. But I think the Mentor ability is just a very strong ability, both in Limited and in Constructed, because like you said, it lets you take your kind of worst creatures and just pump them up.
Yeah, and that 1/1 Goblin guy, he was really good.
Yeah,
right?
Goblin Banneret.
Goblin Banneret.
He's holding a banner, is where the Banneret thing comes from. But
He's not a small banner by himself. He is a...
No, he's a small goblin holding a large banner, I believe,
Okay,
if you look
cool.
at the picture. But he seems like a very, very strong card. We were talking about that during the match. There's been several cards like that they've printed, and almost all of them have made an impact on Constructed when you have a 1-drop that has some sort of a pump ability to make it relevant in the late game.
Nice, nice. And in the control deck, the big cards there, Assassin's Trophy seems really big. Not so
Yeah.
much for this matchup, but the ability
Yeah.
for a 2-mana instant to kill any permanent, even Teferi, seems like it's going to be a thing in Constructed.
Yeah. Assassin's Trophy is by far the most hyped card, and also the card I'm most excited for, because I think it has a really big chance to not only be huge in Standard, but also see a ton of play in Modern and Legacy.
Nice.
Because being able to, destroy something like, for example, a Tron land, like an Urza's Mine, perhaps, or being able to destroy, like, I don't know, like a Dark Depths. Like, there's like so many cool things you can kill with this card that makes it, I think, the most exciting card that's been spoiled, at least when we're filming today.
Nice. Okay. Well, next week, that Boros deck is going to be coming back. REA, what's it going to be playing against?
Oh, Mono Green. Mono Green, yep.
Which is more exciting than it was back when I played.
It's pretty cool.
Okay.
I'm excited for it.
It's got all the hexproof, right?
It's got a lot of hexproof creatures.
Okay. Tune in next week for Boros against Mono Green Hexproof, and we'll see you next time on Nights at the Game Table.